Hello everyone. So the population that I chose to focus on for this video is the special education population. I chose this population because it is a topic that I'm quite passionate about, especially since there was once a time that I was a special education major before I changed my major over to early childhood education. Um, with that being said, I have had some background working with kids who have disabilities and special needs, and I believe that they should be advocated for when it comes to a good and quality education. From what I already know and from what I've read, there's a lot that goes into getting your child or a child evaluated for special needs. There are developmental delays and speech delays that a child may um, be seen or may be concerned about having. And a developmental delay just means that a young child has a delay or disorder in sensory, physical, mental, or social emotional development, and or has multiple delays in comparison to their peers. Once a child is diagnosed with a disability or developmental delay, there are programs that they can be put into, and these programs can even be before school age. I believe the article that I read said that it can start um, at ages 3 to 5, but even if your child is diagnosed before ages 3 to 5, there are programs and groups that the parents and the child can get into even before 3 to 5. I've seen some even start at around age 2. Um, Usually with developmental delays, it's hard to diagnose a child before the age of 2, because that's when they start talking and walking and um, other stuff. Some parents can notice it earlier, and some kids have been diagnosed with, for an example, autism in earlier ages, but it is hard to diagnose them at such early ages and stages in their life. So that's usually why groups and programs start a little later. Um, when they get put into these programs, they will also get an individualized education program or an IEP. I've actually made several IEPs myself for school assignments and with kids that I've worked with in the past. And they can be difficult to make because there's a lot of information that goes into them and a lot of information that you have to take not only from the kid and their diagnosis, but the parents. You also have to work with other faculty members and their doctors and therapists. There's a lot that goes into IEPs, and although they are difficult and hard to make, they are crucial to ensure that the child is getting a quality education. And when they are put into these programs, it will help them interact with kids their own age, and it's crucial that they also interact with kids their own age because this will ultimately help with their development even though they may be delayed or behind. Something that I really enjoyed refreshing my memory on was the Individuals with Disabilities Education Act, or IDEA. I've learned about this in other classes, not from ASU, but from the other university that I went to. And this is a law that makes it available for a free, appropriate public education for children with disabilities throughout the nation, and ensures special education and related services to those children is provided. This act is important to families because it provides information and resources to them that they may not have known that they are able to have. And if there were any questions or concerns that they needed, there is a website which was provided to us in this class, which will give them more information on IDEA. So for the third prompt of this lesson or this video, I've actually worked with kids, like I said before, that were in special education classes and had disabilities. One specific student that I think of whenever I get asked about working with kids with that were in special education or had disabilities or disorders or developmental delays was a child that had severe autism. Um, Now he would interact with kids, he would play with them. He was overall like a really good student that I had. Um, he would just get really overstimulated sometimes by everything going on around him, or if the room was really loud, or if there was too many kids around him, he would freak out. And one thing that I really liked that the school provided to him was headphones because he would get um, overstimulated and he was sensitive to sound. So the headphones he could wear and put on and quieten everything around him. And it was really nice because when I noticed him before the headphones and after the headphones, there was a big difference. He was calmer. He was able to enjoy his time more, which I appreciated, and I like to see that. Um, and I could tell that this school was really involved with all their students that were in special education um, because they provided to all of them. They had extra wheelchairs if needed. I worked with a special education teacher in the program that I worked at in this school. She talked about how much she loved the students. She helped me with the students, any and all of my students that had special needs. She helped me with them when I didn't know what to do because this was my first time in a job and my first time working with kids that had special needs in education or special needs and disabilities. So it was really nice to have her help too because I wouldn't have known what to do. Um, and going on that, I think other teachers are good resources to have when you are dealing with students that are in special education because they will have experience. They'll probably have more experience than you. You can also use your past experiences as resources um, because you're constantly learning from yourself. And another resource that you can use with the children that are special needs or in special education are the parents, which I think some people tend to forget, but the parents are really good resources because they've had their kid and they've known that kid for their whole life and they know how to handle the kid. They know their diets, they know what makes them freak out, they know what makes them calm, um they know everything. And it takes a lot of patience to work with kids with special needs and that are in special education, and especially younger kids when they're going through this and they're starting to show the signs of developmental delays and everything. It can be difficult, like I said, it can be a little more difficult and it takes a lot of patience, but ultimately they deserve a quality education just like any other kid. So that's why I chose special education for this topic. Thank you for your time, and I hope everyone else has a great day.